energy. I did my work beautifully, but sometimes I couldn't go to work. I had my period. In there, if you have no temperature, you are not sick. They had a doctor. If some people, they got sick, they had to go to the doctor, and they let them 2 or 3 days in the house. But if I never made temperature, I wanted to have sometimes temperature. I couldn't have never temperature to stay home in bed. But when you have to demonstrate it, you have no temperature. They said this is not a sickness. But one day I got so sick in the morning. I had cramps in my stomach. I was 20 years old and I couldn't go. And I said to the hell with them, what they will do, will do. I covered my head with my pillow. My husband went to work. He was worried. And police came. They quantos every morning. I was missing. They came to my room and they ripped it up my blanket, and I said, "Student, why you are in bed?" I said, "I'm sick." I smiled to him. He was such a beautiful man. I thought he will be, no. He said, "You go to the doctor and you have to bring a receipt that you are sick." I said to him, "I have no temperature. The doctor will not give me." I told him, "Are you pregnant?" He said, "No, if you are not pregnant, you are not sick. They want us to be pregnant to have children. Then to build Warsaw there, and we will be there forever." And girls, they got pregnant because they wanted to stay home and to have sugar and bread. And when I saw their bellies and they have bread and they are eating, I got jealous, I got pregnant. I made the biggest mistake in my life. I wanted to lose. I went to an old lady and I said, "What I have to do now?" I gave her away my bread and my tea. Tea is chai in Russia. This is a fortune. I gave her away just to help me to lose. She said, "Jump from a big table. Go to a hot shower." I jumped, I went to showers, it didn't help me. I was pregnant. But when you are pregnant, I wanted to eat. I couldn't pull up. And my husband felt guilty, and I was guilty. And I said, it's 9 months. In the 9 months, will be a change. We will go home. We have no passports. They will send us home. We were working hard, but nothing wrong. They didn't beat us. They respected us because we worked, we did our job, and this was not in Germany. We were in the best place in this world. We didn't know what's going on in the world, that the world is such terrible, that they are taking people to Auschwitz. We didn't know nothing. We didn't have radios. We didn't have news. We didn't have newspapers. We didn't know nothing. So I was home the day, and I had a lot of trouble. He sent me to a judge, to a big city, that I am a bad prisoner. I didn't go one day to work, and I lied. I didn't have temperature, and I am not pregnant, and I had problems. But they straightened it out, and nothing happened. And I got pregnant, and I was pregnant, and I stayed home. They didn't send me to work. I had bread and sugar. In 1941, when the Germans, they start a war with Russia, they let us go because we have no passports. They didn't expect a war. And the police came to us. I remember they called us for a conference. They treated us so nice. We didn't know what's going on. All of a sudden, we didn't know it's a war. He said, "It's a war in Russia. We are free. You are free." And I am in 9th month pregnant. I had to have the baby. This was like a stone over my head. I'm losing all my friends. Where am I going to go? He said, "I cannot help you, student." He looks at me like that, "Student. He says, you are such a strong girl." And he said, "You are a beautiful girl and a strong girl. You will survive, nothing will happen. You are free to everybody. If we have a wall, I am now a soldier. I have to go to fight. And they let us go. This was, everybody is hugging me, kissing me. They go away to Tashkent, to Leningrad, to Moscow. I cannot go. I have to give birth. The worst. What was a tragedy. We went to a near town, and I knocked in the doors, and I find a lady, an older lady. She never had children. And she said, you know, I will let you in my house. I never had kids, but promise me you will give me the baby. And I said, I cannot promise you. I will ask my husband. I have a husband. He finds me, because it was a small town. And she said she has one cow and one glass of milk a day. She will give me away the glass of milk. She will help me. It's good. But she wants the baby. And I said, I don't know what I will do later. It's cold, it's freezing, I need help. And she let me in with my husband. And I gave birth. It's a big story. Okay, I gave birth and she helped me a lot. Everything was up to down. To reach this hospital was a lake, and in this month they couldn't walk, the lake wasn't frozen, it wasn't running. They had to push a little ship to the... She had a wonderful husband, such a darling man, beautiful people, good people, very poor, but very good, in a little town. He pushed a little ship to the hospital, and I went to the hospital, and I gave birth. 3 days took me. I was crying. I was so upset. And the doctors, and I said to the doctor, he said, it's a wall. They have a wall. I had one watch in my hand. I took out my watch and I said, this is the only watch I have. I give you a present. I gave him a present. A watch was a fortune there. But please, when the baby will be born, put on something over the hand, a little thing, that this is my child. Because don't mix up the children. I was scared, I have nobody. When I gave birth, he came to my bed. He said, you know, Hanya, you have a boy. Don't worry. This night, they are born 3 girls, only 1 boy. It's a wall. We need men. You have to be proud you have a boy. We don't have to put nothing in this hand, because it's born this night 1 boy and 3 jetki. It is in Russia. 3 girls and 1 boy. It's your boy. When he showed me the baby, I could drop dead. It's such an ugly baby with hair. I thought I had an animal. I thought I have a bear. What kind of baby? This is my baby? He said, yes, this is your baby. I couldn't. I put the baby, the face back, not to look at the baby, just the back. I want to look at the baby. But after a few days, children, they change. My husband came after 2 days. He was working very far away on a horse. He came to see the baby. He said, is this your baby? I said, yes. I can't believe it, such an ugly child. But you know, children, they change, it changed. This is Isaac. And he made it. She helped me a lot, the lady. Lady from Cuba, I sent her a lot of packages. She was a fantastic lady. Of course, she said, how you can live with such a gorgeous baby? She helped me, the lady. Later, I went to the big city, to Chicalo with my husband. He found work. And the war was going on and on and on. Indeed, later in Chicalo, my husband went to work, and I lived in a beautiful place, in an apartment, and we had news, and we read papers that the war is terrible, is going on and on and on. This was in 1941, he was born. Then started the war, the Germans with the Russians.
How much time did you live in Chicalo?
In Chicalo? Oh, this is a hard question. And Chicalo with the baby, a long time, till the end of the war.
How was life in Chicago for you and your husband? You mentioned that he was able to...
My husband received a beautiful job in a place he was a bookhalter in an office. He was very intelligent. He picked up Russia very good. And he received a good salary. We could make a nice living in Russia. And till they let us go.
When did they let you go?
In 1946. We went to Poland. They took us to Poland. When the war was to the end, they couldn't hold us there. We had the right to go home. And we realized that my husband's brother was killed from the Germans. He went to a place, we were the poor people. We couldn't take a passport and to go to Russia. We wanted to go back. He didn't want to go back because he had a lot of things from the house. He wanted to go to stay with a passport. Where he went, the Germans, they came, they killed everybody. Into Siberia, they couldn't reach Siberia. They lost the war. Near Stalingrad, they didn't have shoes. Was below sort of cold. And we came to Poland. I went to my house. My husband left to his house. We went to Moscow. We went to Warsaw. We went to hospitals. We didn't find nobody alive. We realized that we were in a paradise. The Russia didn't do nothing wrong to us. Of course, people, they died. Old people, they couldn't survive. They couldn't survive, it was too cold. But mostly young people, they survived.
After you visited Makov and you found that there was no family there, did you get news from neighbors or from...
No neighbors.
Nothing?
Nothing. It was very sad. This is so hard to explain. We went to Warsaw. I left my baby in a house. And I said, my husband went in one side, I went to another side. We went to hospitals. Maybe they are sick, maybe be us. Nobody was alive. They took everybody to Auschwitz, to Treblinka. They killed them. You know the story about what's there. We realized if we wouldn't be in Siberia, we wouldn't be alive.
After you left Makov, after you went through Warsaw, where did you establish yourself with your husband?
Now is a story, the joint takeover of our life. We knew that somebody's taking care of us. We went to Germany, a labor camp in Fürstenfeldbruck. Fürstenfeldbruck, this is in Bayern, where they took us from the joint, they fed us, we received clothes for my child, and they knew we are survivors. They asked us if you have some relatives in other countries. I said yes. But I remember I have a brother in Cuba, in Havana. My husband said he has a brother in Israel. 1946 was in Israel terrible. We wanted to go, if we go to Israel in this time, we would be in the Exodus. They didn't let them enter. So my husband's brother said, can I have a little bit of water, please? Thank you. My husband's brothers wrote a letter. No, we had a lot of help from Israel. My husband's brother sent us a lot of packages to Siberia, which was a big help. We received help from him. He knew his address. I didn't know the address for my brother. So his brother sent him a letter. I'm happy you are alive. I would love to have you here, but this is such a terrible time to come to Israel. If you have a place where to go, go in another place, not to Israel. And we picked up, we didn't know, I wanted to go to my brother. My husband wanted to go to his brother. So we picked up Cuba because it was a better place to go. And we chose the better place. I came to Cuba, and I was in my brother's house a few weeks, and he helped us a lot in Cuba. My husband started a beautiful life, a normal life. I met Jewish people in Cuba, such lovely people, and I was invited to the houses, and I was so happy to find Jewish people established with houses, with children, with a synagogue, with a Jewish life. I always was scared to say that I am Jewish, and I was so mad at my life that why I am Jewish, why I was born. We were, I cannot explain in English. We were so unhappy that we were born Jewish people. What I did wrong? What we did wrong? Why they kill us? And so many people, they could survive like Polacks. They looked like Polacks. You know, their noses with the, who knows? They took our passport, Polish passport, and they could live like Polacks. I couldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I didn't know why I have to do that. I couldn't understand what's going on in this world, such terrible with Jewish people. When I came to Cuba and I saw such a beautiful, normal life, I was so happy that soon I'm going to be normal with everybody.
Mrs. Student, when did you arrive in Havana? When did you arrive?
In 1946, I was in the camps in Germany, and the joint took over of our life completely. And my brother from Cuba sent me papers. And in 1947, after a year being in the camps in Germany, we arrived to Cuba. 1947, I don't remember the month. I remember we arrived to Cuba. It was warm, sunshine. The stores full with bread. I just looked at the store, the bakeries with bread. I wasn't interested in dresses and nothing. When I saw the bread in the bakeries, I said to my husband, oh, we are saved. Here is so much bread. Oh, later, this was just the beginning. Of course, we were always hungry, always thinking about the food, because were never enough good feed. First of all, not because we were in Russia. The Russian people, they are very good people. They helped us also. Not by the government, but the Russian people. I have the best mind about them and the best, good feeling. Those people, they helped me a lot.
How many years you lived in Cuba?
From 1947 to 1960. 1960, the first year in Cuba was very hard. We didn't know Spanish. We had a little boy to educate. We came to a very small city, Camagüey, which I didn't like it too much, because it wasn't a Jewish community, and I wanted my children to have a Jewish education. And my brother told me, if you like for the children something different, why don't you go to Havana? They have a beautiful Jewish community, Jewish school. My son was 6 years old. I want him to have a Jewish school. So we left the little town and we went to Havana. In Jewish people in Cuba, we find them from Marcos. They went to Cuba in the same year like my brother. They came to visit me, to see me, and they were jealous of my brother. They said, you are so lucky, Israel. You find a sister by the survivors. I didn't tell you how he found me. A friend of him, he had in very early morning the Havana Leben, a Jewish paper, and he was reading always the survivors. He found me between the survivors, my name. He called my brother, he said, Israel, your sister is between the survivors. When he picked up this paper, he couldn't believe it. He asked him, I had two sisters, which one, the older or the little one? He said, I don't know. This is Hannah. Oh, Angela, that's my baby sister. Right away, he communicated with the joint, and he sent me papers, and I came to Cuba, and I found my brother. I was so lucky. Everybody was jealous of me. You find a brother in a normal life, you will go to a land where you have children, and I find him with two lovely small children, which they are here in the pictures. I put this is my brother from Cuba. And he was so so interesting. He couldn't recognize me, of course, and I didn't recognize him because after so many years, I was 10 years old, and he grew up in another country. But we got together very beautiful. He helped me a lot.
Mrs. Student, when did you arrive to the United States?
1960, when, listen, the first year was hard in Cuba, but later my husband made tremendously good in business. He was a tremendous good businessman, and we bought a big building together with a partner. It's still the building there in Calle Cristo. And we had a beautiful jewelry store. My husband started with jewelry. My brother helped us a lot. And we lost, in 1960, we had a beautiful house, we had a beautiful business, we made money, everything was good. And in 1960, Castro came to power, took away everything, but not everything, because I sent my son to New York to study in 1957. And we sent the money, whatever we could, to have something in the United States. My husband always believed not to have everything in one corner, always keep it in other places. And my son finished NYU, he's electronical engineer. And I had a baby in Cuba, 1949. This is very hard. He grew up a beautiful boy. He was a doctor. I lost. It's 8 years. He was 39 years. I cannot. This is the biggest tragedy that I went through. I had a heart attack. He left me two wonderful children. This was something. He died here in Baltimore. He was a psychiatrist, he was a doctor. They both were professionals. I'm very proud of my children. Happened. My husband couldn't survive that. After 9 months, I lost my husband. That's the story. But life is going on. I have 5 grandchildren, I have 1 great-granddaughter, and I have to keep on living. I have a wonderful son, he's successful, and he was working many years in IBM, and everything is fine. Everything now is, we live with tragedies.
Mrs. Student, we're going to make a brief pause once again, and we will continue with your testimony. Number 4. Mrs. Student, you've lived in New York after you left.
Yes.
How many years you lived in New York?
1960 till 1981. In 1981, my husband was successful. I lived in New York. My husband had a beautiful business in the 47th Street. He made it up very good. And we lived very comfortable. I had my 2 children married. They got married beautiful. And we lived normal, beautiful. But my husband got sick. He got sick, and I want him to retire. So he gave up the business to my son, picked it up. He said, business is better than to be an engineer. He picked up the business, and he ran all the business by himself. And we decided to come to Florida. I bought this apartment. I bought this apartment just for vacation. And I thought, I'm not gonna, because I liked my neighbors, I liked my place where I lived. I had the children in New York. I didn't want it to go away. But having this apartment, I was so happy coming here twice a year, just to the beach, and coming back home to have to keep 2 apartments. Finally, I decided to move because my husband felt very good by the beach, reading books, retired, and going playing golf. And I belong to the Hadassah, and I'm still working. And I had my friends, and I am going for conventions to Israel with the Hadassah like a delegate. They sent me from Miami Beach. Last year I was in Jerusalem in a convention, and I'm doing beautifully still for Israel. I love it. I go to Israel every year, and I love the country. And for that, because you asked me the question, so I had to leave New York because the cold weather didn't agree with him. I changed for Miami. We bought this. After a year, we moved here, and we lived from 1982 till now.
Mrs. Student, what is the name of your grandchildren? You mentioned you have
Yes.
5 grandchildren and 1.
Oh yes, I remember. Daria Student, Galit Student, and Gili. This is from my older son, 3 children. For my younger son, I have 2, Ami and Daniel. Now, my grandson is married from my older son. He has a baby. I am a great-grandma, which makes me very happy. I have wonderful children. They love me, but I am here, they are there. I'm going for Yom Tov to New York. And whenever I feel to go, I go. I go to see the children, but it is not like to live together in one place. But I have to live like that. I have to live with what I have, and I'm happy.
Mrs. Student, I'd like to ask just one brief more question.
The telephone?
Don't move, please.
We'd like to know if you could tell us a brief message that you have, now that it's more than 50 years that the Holocaust occurred. What can you tell us?
I don't hear nothing. It's oh, nobody talks. I have an answer machine. Now you can ask me again the question.
Mrs. Student, could you tell us please a brief message?
I don't hear you.
A brief message that you have now that is more than 50 years that the Holocaust occurred. What could you tell your children, your grandchildren, and your great-grandchild when they all grow up, and all generations that will hear this testimony? What could you teach us?
Now I will tell you. I am going to my son to Baltimore, who died, very often to visit the children. In those children, they are extremely intelligent children. One is in college, he's doing marvelous. They wanted me to make a video for my past. I have a video, and they asked me questions, and if you like to see my video, and they know everything exactly what I went through, because they wanted to know. But I couldn't finish my conversation with them. I was too sentimental, and I didn't finish. I was extremely nervous. I couldn't finish all my story. I have here a video. They know. But I have to tell them, they know everything. They study in school. The teachers, they are telling them everything. And a lot of children, my grandmother, she went to Poland. They take them now to Auschwitz, and they tell them they know everything. They're watching the pictures. They are not small children, they are big children. They're college graduated children. And they know, sometimes they know more than I know. What can I tell you? They studied more. And now I never studied that much like they study now. But I know I pick up just by my ear, reading. I read a lot of books. I read English, I read Spanish, mostly I read Yiddish, Jewish, because I am raised with Jewish language and I love it. I have now a book, Golda Meir in Yiddish, and it's very interesting.